just told him because he like from good to go in the theater. I saw you were Catholic Jesus, so you like maybe I'll go notice it not it's really frustrating. I live on it, so I don't have a home to get. But like looking for surgery is stupid. It's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, and I refuse. So I study it. Or like I want to say. Oh my god. You also carry podcasts.
Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome you to this year's commemoration of the Montreal Massacre. At 5:10 p.m. on December 6, 1989, Marc Lepine entered a classroom at the École Polytechnique, the engineering school of the University of Montreal, armed with a rifle and a hunting gun. Lepine separated the nine women from the approximately 50 men in the mechanical engineering class and ordered the men to leave. The men left. He asked the women whether they knew why they were there. A student replied no. Lepine said, "I am fighting feminism." Student Natalie Provost said, "Look, we're just women studying engineering." Not necessarily feminists ready to march on the streets to shelter against men, just students intent on leading a normal life. Levine said, "You're women, you're going to be engineers, you're all a bunch of feminists, I hate feminists." Then he shot the women from left to right, killing 6 and wounding 3 others. Within 20 minutes, Levine's rampage had left 14 women dead, 10 women and 4 men injured. Then he killed himself. Those present during this attack suffered physical, social, existential, financial, and psychological consequences. A number of students committed suicide, the last 2 citing the anguish they suffered following the massacre as the reason for killing themselves. In 1991, the Parliament of Canada declared December 6th as the National Day of Remembrance and Action on Violence Against Women. Each year on December 6th, we remember women who are victims of violence in Canada, including the women murdered by Mark Levine.
Geneviève Lejean, Elaine Hogan, Nathalie Cloteau, Barbara Lignon, Anne-Marie Edouard, Mood Harani, Maris Laguinière, Maris Leclerc, Anne-Marie Lemay, Sonia Pelletier, Michel Richard, Annie Saint-Rémy, Annie Tecotte, Barbara Kluchnik Vileyevic.
I'm Janet Wood, a professor in the Department of Molecular and Cellular Biology here at Guelph. In May of 1989, Heather Heath and I established this university's Employment and Educational Equity Office, now the Office of Diversity and Human Rights. Early on December 7th, my husband called me into my office to tell me that something terrible had happened in Montreal. I was about to address the Ontario Veterinary College Dean's Council about equity issues, particularly efforts to increase the representation of women on faculty. When I returned to the University Centre, the day had fractured into shards of horror, fear, anger, grief, and disbelief. People describe that day as surreal, as feeling that the world had changed fundamentally. This couldn't happen in Canada. There had been no previous mass murder, and there has been nothing on the same scale since. Some immediately argued that the murders were random acts of a madman. They might have said that Levine's acts were just crimes, not a sociological phenomenon. Some claim that his acts cannot be understood. Before he began killing the women, Levine said, "You're women, you're going to be engineers, you're all a bunch of feminists, I hate feminists." We were proud feminists with aspirations. Levine defined us as deserving to be killed. We called for gun control, we wept, we vowed to warn that work for change. We assured the University of Guelph president that our flag should indeed be lowered to half-mast that day. We planned the first memorial. There would be 14 roses and 14 candles, and Janet would read the names.
My name is Matthew Brown, and I'm a human rights educator and event coordinator for the Student Help and Advocacy Center, which is part of the Central Student Association here at the University of Guelph. I've been involved in the last 3 years of the Memorial for Polytechnique, and I would first like to say that it's a complete honor and privilege to be able to speak today at the 25th anniversary. 25 years ago, we lost 15 women, who had bright and prosperous futures ahead of them. Every year we come together, students, faculty, community members, and their children to remember and honor the memories of these women and the women we unfortunately continue to lose every year to violence and abuse. It is important to look back at the timeline of events, the disheartening statistics that are published every day, and really reflect on the values we instill to one another in our society. It is not okay to condone and support the violence against women. It is not okay to subject women to oppression. It is not okay to inflict physical or emotional harm to women. It is not okay to continue to let this happen. As a male ally, it is important that we look at these events and critically analyze how we can progress towards a more inclusive and safer community, both within our schools and in our neighborhoods. It is crucial that more men acknowledge the power they hold in our hegemonic masculine model that is implemented in our society and use it to help those who are voiceless or powerless. Check your privileges, use the power towards a positive movement to unite together in solidarity and to eliminate violence against women. The White Ribbon Campaign is one of the world's largest movement of men and boys and male-identified individuals working together to end violence against women, trans women, and girls, as well as to promote gender equity, healthy relationships, and a new vision of masculinity. I encourage all individuals, but especially the men that are present here today, to wear a white ribbon as a symbol of your support. The events that happen on December 6th will always be very close to my heart. I hope that one day we can all come together to recognize the struggles and the barriers that women, trans women, and their children face every day in abusive environments, whether it be in the public or private realms of our society, and that we work together towards a bright and safe future. We will remember the mothers, the daughters, the grandmothers, wives, aunts, nieces, and children, as well as the friends that we have lost and continue to lose. May their souls rest in peace.
Thank you for coming. I just want to take this opportunity to point out what surrounds us right now. So as we reflect on the events that took place in 1989, we also acknowledge that the violence still continues. So we have the pictures of the women, the 14 women who were killed at Ecole Polytechnique, and then in front of us are the 599 women and children who've died since 1990 as a result of domestic violence within our own province. The women's pictures to the right and left are the 28 women who died in Ontario this year as a result of gender-based violence. My name is Jessica St. Peter. I've had the pleasure of being part of an amazing organization and a crucial part of our community. As the public educator of Guelph Wellington Women in Crisis, I've had the opportunity to meet hundreds of people each year, folks from all across our community and our province, who have been fundamental to the work we do every day. They're a reminder that what I do is not just a job, it's part of my identity. And prevention programming is imperative if we hope to end violence against women and children. Every year when I participate in this event, I reflect on the years that have passed, my current place in society, my own privilege, and also the struggles that still remain. It has been 25 years since December 6, 1989. And still I worry what today and tomorrow will hold for the women in my life and myself. 25 years ago, my own life changed forever. I look around at the amazing folks I work with who have shared their memories of what they recall on that day. I see in their eyes that what took place at the Ecole Polytechnique is carried with them and connects them to the work they do, the lives they live, and the folks they support. They will never forget what that day was like, where they were and how it changed their actions, their choices, and maybe even their dreams. For some, it filled their days with fear and worry. For others, it was a catalyst that set them on their journey towards social justice. For others, it was a blatant reminder of the inequality of women and the barriers that they would spend the rest of their lives trying to break. In my line of work, I see the impact of gender-based violence, but I also see the resiliency. I see the dedication and the commitment to change. On December 6, 1989, a national crisis occurred, and no longer was the violence against women going to be spoken about as a private issue, a struggle that took place only behind closed doors or in moments of anger and lack of control. Finally, gender-based violence was seen for what it is, a systemic issue that uses power and control to victimize so many. Reflecting on that year of 1989, I realized it was the beginning of my journey that brings me here today. Similar to some of my coworkers working towards the elimination of violence against women and children, that year shined light on the severity of inequality in our own country and heightened my compassion and dedication to the cause. But at 4 years old, I didn't realize just in what capacity it did. For myself, at that time, I wasn't fully aware. In 1989, my one and only biological sister was born. Little did I know she would be the reason I'm here today. We all have a reason for wanting change. For me, she's always been that. It's my job as her big sister to make the world a safer place for her. It started with cutting her hot dogs in half before cutting them into pieces, making sure she was buckled up, making sure that she knew not to stand too close to the road and never to talk to strangers. Little did I know that that protection would continue. Little did I know that it would be to not spend time alone with certain family members, that she should learn to trust her gut, that her body was hers and hers alone, and that she knew she was an amazing, strong, and unstoppable woman who could do whatever she dreamed. But the miraculous part is that for me, over the last 25 years, I've realized that I have more big sisters and big brothers than I could have ever imagined. Those are the folks who have taken the tragedy that we are here to commemorate and dedicated their lives to keeping me safe, or at least making my community safer. A safe place filled with support, resources, and acceptance. We still have so much to do. Today is about reflecting on my own role in the outcomes of today, but also the future of tomorrow. I have a little sister, but it's no longer just her that I'm here speaking about. It's all people, regardless of their social location, who deserve to live life to the fullest and live a life free of violence. Together we will continue working on the change at all levels. That is the amazing part of what has come in the last 25 years. The growth in solidarity in the violence against women movement, the survivor-focused support and resources, and a commitment to advocacy and education. It's for these reasons and so many more that I'm thankful that each of you are here today.
My name is Valerie Davidson, and at the time of the Montreal massacre, I was a relatively new faculty member in the School of Engineering here at the University of Guelph, teaching students who had a lot in common with those who lost their lives. 25 years ago, we were shocked and outraged by the senseless tragedy at École Polytechnique, but we made a commitment to channel this energy into positive actions. At the first memorial service, we made a promise: first mourn and work for change. Within the engineering community, we agreed that it was important to see change in the participation of women as students, as faculty, and as professional engineers. We recognized that full participation of women would benefit the engineering profession and society as a whole. Over the past 25 years, there have been many activities aimed at dispelling outdated stereotypes and raising awareness about the breadth of opportunities in engineering, particularly in new disciplines that connect engineering with biological systems. I'm very proud of a province-wide initiative called the Ontario Network of Women in Engineering, or ONWE, which I helped to launch 10 years ago. ONWE organizes an annual event called Go Eng Girl, or Génienne les Filles, for girls in grades 7 to 10. This year, about 950 girls and more than 500 parents participated in Go Eng Girl at campuses across Ontario, including the University of Guelph. This year, the program also expanded outside Ontario, and the University of British Columbia had its first Go Eng Girl event. In 2015, ONWE members are organizing Go Code Girl to encourage girls to study computer science and related areas of engineering.
The good news is that Go Girl and other outreach activities have been effective. In 2014, women make up more than 50% of the first-year class at 4 out of the 15 faculties of engineering in Ontario. The School of Engineering here at the University of Guelph is one of the 4. In terms of absolute numbers, there are now almost twice as many female undergraduates studying engineering in Ontario as there were in all the provinces across Canada in 1989. The deans of engineering at 3 universities in Ontario are female, and there are more women in faculty roles. Again, the School of Engineering at Guelph is a leader in terms of the percentage of female faculty. These are positive changes that need to be sustained to achieve full participation of women in engineering. We cannot be complacent and think that our work is done. The numbers that I have presented are indicators of progress, but I know that we need to focus on more than just numbers. In 1999, on the 10th anniversary of the Montreal Massacre, the Canadian Engineering Memorial Foundation created an award to recognize a university that had made significant contributions to improving the climate for female students and faculty in engineering. This was assessed on the basis of a number of criteria, including welcoming practices and outreach activities, general student behavior towards women, faculty and staff behavior and treatment of women, campus support services and security measures for women, administrative leadership and response to women's issues. The University of Guelph was selected as the first recipient of the award, and I think that this recognition was well deserved. I know that when an environment is inclusive, equitable, and safe for women, then all members of the community benefit. However, it requires a commitment from all members of the community to ensure that an inclusive, equitable, and safe climate is maintained. We need to engage in a regular and frank assessment of the climate in our community using criteria like those that were developed for the Canadian Engineering Memorial Foundation Award. We need to engage in public dialogue to raise awareness of the issues that threaten an inclusive, equitable, and safe environment, and develop solutions to address these issues. We need to speak out against harassment and violence toward women in our communities. We need to recognize the value of diversity and take proactive steps to ensure that diversity is reflected in our student population, as well as the staff, faculty, and administration of the university. As we remember and reflect on the tragic event that took place in Montreal 25 years ago, let us reaffirm our commitment to work towards change. Let us continue efforts to encourage the full participation of women in the engineering profession and other fields such as computer science. Let us work together to nurture an inclusive, safe, and equitable environment for all students, staff, and faculty at the University of Guelph. And let us recognize that this is a privileged community, that we need to support girls and women in our local, national, and international communities who are struggling to access education and achieve equality.
Thank you. I'd like to invite you now to join us as we proceed out to the Peace Pole for a few more words. On the way at the doors, you can collect a candle and have it lit for you. Thank you.